Why did you decide to vote with Republicans to open the government?
There were two goals. One was standing up to Donald Trump. Guess who's getting paid during the shutdown? Not the park rangers or air traffic controllers, the ICE agents. So standing up to Donald Trump didn't work. It actually gave him more power.
Democrat, fake independent, left-wing Maine Senator Angus King. I'm sorry, standing up to Donald Trump, it actually gave him more power. ICE agents are still being paid. These people are mentally ill, and they're un-American. And you know what else they like? They like transgenderism. They're very, very unwell. Speaking of transgenderism, I have some breaking news for you. And it has to do with Democrats cross-dressing, which they're so happy to do. Yes, they are. Here's that line from the Telegraph newspaper, not even American. Breaking news, transgender athletes to be banned from female competition at the Olympics following a review of evidence about the sporting advantages of being born male. They had to conduct a study. They had to do an analysis. Wait a minute. You mean men really are stronger and taller and faster than women? I can't believe this. They did a study. And you know what they discovered? They discovered what everybody's known since we crawled out of the primordial ooze. Everyone's known this since before language was discovered. And they have to learn it all over again because of mental dwarfism. And really it's because of leftism. They call it liberalism, but they're very, very silly people. The new policy may, you got to say that what they're hedging here a little bit. Transgender athletes are to be banned is not the same as saying have been banned. The new policy may, the word may, also bar female athletes with differences of sex development, possibly including boxers like Imani Khalif. You know how they like that. And they got men winning they have women's weightlifting. And then men show up and they win and they steal the trophies and the awards. And the Democrats applaud because stealing and thieving and lying, perfectly normal for the Democrats. So the Olympics ready to ban transgender athletes from all women's events, may also bar female athletes with differences of sex development. Was that like really butch kind of ladies? Isn't that amazing? Man, oh man. So Olympics is increasingly likely to ban transgender athletes from all female competition following a science-based review of evidence. Honestly, I've got to say, you people are really unintelligent people. You're unserious people. You're an embarrassment to Western civilization people. Yes, sir. You guys. I'm telling you. Also on the Telegraph, ITV, International Television, whatever it is. Adil Ray in crisis talks after appearing to endorse Sharia in New York. Sure, the Good Morning Britain. It's kind of like Good Morning America, but they have one in Britain. Not very original. They just call it Good Morning Britain, kind of like Good Morning America, but smaller. Good Morning Britain presenter hauled in front of bosses over social media posts celebrating New York's new Muslim mayor, Zohran Mamdani. So now Adil Ray is in crisis talks. That's what they call him. He's going to have to get some crisis counseling, I think. Isn't that amazing? Because so many Democrats, they love jihad and hate the Jews. They call it liberalism, but it's not. It's pretty extraordinary, I've got to say. These people. You know, one of the people talking about, let's go to Bill Maher. who I just don't like, and he gets so much credit for doing so little. Hey, wait a minute. The sun comes up in the morning and it goes down in the evening. Wow, Bill Maher with more brilliant insight. Gosh, that's just great. Bill Maher was talking about he's got a TV show. They pay millions and millions. No conservatives are paid millions and millions to do what Democrats do to be paid millions and millions. It's HBO, Time Warner, mega corp media thing. But here he is on the socialists, and how they're using the word socialists all over the place. And Democrats, some Democrats love it. A lot of them are socialist, which means communist, by the way. It's code. And the rest of them are just wannabe socialists. Bill Maher on the Democrats and their love affair with socialism.
Mamdani, he's a socialist, a democratic socialist, makes no bones about that. Abigail Spanberger, she's one of the ones who won yesterday, big, in Virginia, okay? She said after the last election, we need to not ever use the word socialist or socialism ever again. So this is a pretty big split in the party.
It's a pretty big split in the party. A lot of them are communists, which is what socialist means. When you say, oh, yeah, I'm a socialist, it means really you're a commie, and you're using the euphemism. Again, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, the USSR, they called themselves socialists, too. And then they murdered 35 million of their own people in the name of socialism because health care was going to be free. Everybody's going to die soon. It's almost like the earth is on fire and you're Katie Porter's daughter. Bill Maher doing his multi-million-dollar TV show on behalf of the Democrat Party.
Explain this economy. How some people are eating $36 cheeseburgers. They don't do what you do,
Not
though.
me.
Not you. We know that. You're pure. And other people are voting for socialism. And I understand why they're voting for socialism, because they can't even make ends meet, and they're worried about eating at all. How do we get the economy back to something that looks like what I remember as normal as a kid?
I see. I like that soundbite because he said, "I want to get the economy back to something that like normal that I remember as a kid." And that reminded me that we've been talking about normal for a long time here on our radio show, and we've been selling T-shirts and coffee mugs that say "Remember Normal," and the Democrat Party. They have firebombed normal with Molotov cocktails, and they're just not, they're not on the side of civilization. They're unbelievably awful, terrible, horrible. They want men stealing the Olympics from women. That's a mental illness. It genuinely is. Zohran Mamdani was mentioned in there, and I think he mispronounced it because he's a liberal and they're all idiots at this point. Zohran Mamdani, it turns out that Zohran Mamdani was elected to become the mayor of New York City, our most populous city, New York City, where Wall Street is and all of that good stuff. And Zohran Mamdani pretty much immediately got on a plane, and where did he go? He went to Puerto Rico. And when he got to Puerto Rico, he found a mosque, because he is a terrorist and a radical Islamic jihadi, anti-Semite, genocidal terrorist. And he went to a mosque in Puerto Rico where everybody is, of course, chanting Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. But it turns out this mosque is known for a couple of things, and that is supporting terrorism, including the 2 years ago attack on Israel with the massacre and the kidnappings and the rapes and the tortures and the tunnel system and all of that good stuff. And isn't that amazing? And Zohran Mamdani in Puerto Rico going to the radical mosque in Puerto Rico because I gotta tell you, Zohran Mamdani.
Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Takbir! Allahu Akbar!
Sure, yeah, the Allahu Akbar and all that good stuff. Oh, yeah, actually, by the way, I've got to correct something. I think Democrat Congressman Cortez Masto, according to some reports, has actually voted to open the government each time. I don't know why she wasn't kicked out of the Democrat Party for that. That's interesting, but I said that she's one that has been voting against, and I think that's incorrect. So I wanted to correct that, wanted to straighten that out and give her credit where credit is due. But, she's not been very vocal in all of that. Now, the mosque in Puerto Rico has a checkered past, and that's why Zohran Mamdani made a beeline for this mosque. And the media, they love it. Zohran Mamdani serves meals at an Islamic center in Puerto Rico. That's one of the headlines. Oh, look, he's so nice. He's so good. He's serving meals. You mean communism, other people paying food being redistributed, and he's redistributing. And what's he doing in Puerto Rico? Wasn't he just elected? Is he Puerto Rican? No, he's not. He was born in Uganda, which is real nice this time of year. Not really. And isn't this amazing? And this mosque is a famous bad actor mosque, and naturally, that's where he goes. Why would he go anyplace else? And it's the old Allahu Akbar chants for the Democrat mayor of New York, because he's going to tear down one World Trade Center to put in low-income housing. Low-income housing. Honestly. Have you seen the Barack Obama Presidential Library going in Chicago? It is the Soviet Union. Yeah, here's one story. Mamdani visits mosque linked to Hamas sympathizers. Hamas sympathizers who celebrated and said that the October 7th attack on Israel was entirely justified, completely justified. And that's the mosque that the Democrat incoming mayor of New York chose. That's the mosque that he chose to visit. Just days after his historic win, New York City's first Muslim mayor, his mayor-elect, Zohran Mamdani, flew to Puerto Rico, thanks to America and the patriarchy, for the annual Somos political conference. His visit to a local mosque in San Juan, Puerto Rico, however, sparked backlash after reports that the mosque has praised Hamas and the attacks on Israel and the hostage-taking and the tortures and the murders. And this is the Democrat incoming mayor of New York City, right? Reports link the mosque to Hamas sympathizers and to an imam who allegedly called the October 7th attacks the silver lining. It's the silver lining. Republican Congressman Mike Lawler slammed Zohran Mamdani's trip as an elitist trip, which it is, while Democrats defended it as standard political engagement. Yeah, with the genocidal, Jew-hating, Nazi jihad Islamists. Sure, it is. Well, Democrats defended it as standard political engagement and part of his community's outreach efforts. Outreach to the savage rapist, torture, murderer, kidnapper, terrorist attackers of Israel, October 7th. Zohran Mamdani, isn't that amazing? And that's just fine because Democrats.
This is the first Jama'ah that I have been to since we won our election on Tuesday.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allah. God is greatest. God is greater than your God. Allah is greater than your God. That's what Allahu Akbar is. Isn't that amazing? Oh, yeah, by the way, a mob of Islamists attacked the Israeli symphony performance in Paris, France, as well. And they were setting fires and firebombing and violently attacking people because, Jews. Paris. Pro-Hamas. They might as well be Democrats. Violently attacking the Israeli symphony in Paris because they like Democrats. And some applause. Yes, attack the Philharmonic in Paris, and violently attacked in favor of the jihad. The jihad. They've got it's the French equivalent of the Democrat Party, right? There is a great war coming to the planet Earth, and the left can't wait. That means the Democrat Party. You know, cooking on Thanksgiving, come on, nothing could be more high stakes than that. Feels like one dried-out turkey can ruin it all, and that's because one dried-out turkey can ruin it all. That's why I love my Chef IQ Sense. The Chef IQ Sense is a wireless cooking thermometer that takes the guesswork out of all your holiday cooking and all year long. The USDA says that a turkey has got to hit 165 degrees Fahrenheit in order to be safe for your whole family. But your eyes can deceive, you know. And Chef IQ ensures that you hit that perfect temperature every single time. And listen, it couldn't be easier. Even I can use it. Just insert the sensor into whatever it is you're cooking a turkey on Thanksgiving. Tell the app what you're cooking and then sit back and relax. Because the Chef IQ Sense tells you when to flip your meat, if you need to do that, when to take it off the heat, even how long to let it rest before you start carving it. No more oven peeking and guesswork, and no more dried out turkeys either. Just perfectly cooked meals every single time. And it works for steaks, chicken, fish, whatever it is that you're cooking, whatever it is. You're going to wonder how you ever cooked without it. Plus, it's the ultimate gift, a perfect gift for seasoned cooks, for kitchen rookies, for everyone in between. Right now, you're going to get 30% off the entire website with the code PLANT at chefiq.com. Chefiq.com. The promo code is PLANT. Yes, sir. And it is the birthday of the United States Marine Corps today as well. Happy birthday, Marine Corps. God loves you. We played a little audio of the anti-Semites attacking the Israeli Philharmonic Orchestra performing in Paris, and a mob of Nazis attacked, and they set off flares in the concert hall in Paris, and they set a chair on fire inside the conference hall, and they set it on fire real good too, bright red big flames, and the Israeli Philharmonic, and it's all because, you know, there were Jews there, and they can't allow that without having a lot of violence. You know, it's maybe bringing back Vichy France, you know, the French government that was pro-Nazi during the Nazi days. Yes, sir. My father went over there in a one-seat airplane and dropped bombs on those guys in France. Isn't that great? Also, Abigail Spanberger is telling Democrats that you got to stop using that word socialist. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we'll fight our nation's battles on the land and on the sea. It's the Marine Corps hymn, because today is the birthday of the United States Marine Corps. 275 years. That's right, and it's next year, July 4th, that the nation celebrates our 275th birthday without the Democrats. But the Marine Corps, founded before the American Revolution, came in handy when the American Revolution came around, though. That's for sure. Happy birthday, Marine Corps. I think I mentioned earlier that my first official Marine Corps celebration was 1990, which is 35 years ago now. I was young, green field news guy, and I was in the desert in Saudi Arabia with the 1st Marine Division outside of Khafji, and had a big sheet cake come out on a stretcher and cut it into pieces with swords, and it was a lot of fun. And a short time after that, days after that, the President of the United States at the time, George H.W. Bush, and the First Lady, Barbara Bush, joined the same Marine Division in the same desert Saudi Arabia, outside of Khafji, before they went in and cleaned up Kuwait and Iraq. And that was my first officially celebrated Marine Corps birthday. And here, 35 years later, that was 1990. Wow. Isn't that amazing? So we got that. But happy birthday, Marine Corps. We wanted to make note of that for sure. And now the headline from Politico, left-wing newspaper, Washington, D.C., just minutes ago, the headline is, Senate advances plan to end historic shutdown in bipartisan breakthrough. The framework lawmakers agreed to Sunday night would not guarantee an extension of the expiring Affordable Care Act tax credits. That's Obamacare. They ironically, and as George Orwell might prefer, call it the Affordable Care Act when it made everything more expensive for everybody. It does the opposite of what they say it does because they're the left. The Senate voted to break the shutdown stalemate Sunday, paving the way for the government to reopen as soon as later this week. Why would it be? I'm sorry. Did I say 250? I'm such a dimwit. It's 200. Let me see. Hang on. 275 years for the Marine Corps? Okay, I did. I'm sorry. Okay, I said 275. I'm being silly. Silly me. That's but then the bicentennial, and that's that's right. That's the Marine Corps. I apologize. And then our birthday as a country, of course, next year, 4th of July. That's 1776. See, until 2026, and that's 250 years. See, I'm a little bad with math. Math was never my bag. But let me get back to this for a second. The 60-40 vote to take the first step toward ending the shutdown came hours after enough Democrats agreed to support a package. They love a package. You know how they love a package. That would fund multiple agencies and programs for the full fiscal year and all others until January 30th of 2026. In exchange, Democrats have a commitment from the Trump administration to rehire government workers, I would call them employees, fired at the start of the funding lapse driven entirely by Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, and the promise of a Senate floor vote in December on legislation to extend expiring Obamacare tax credits. See, Obamacare dies if it's not subsidized by the corrupt Democrat Party, who called it the Affordable Care Act. And then in the name of affordability, it's cost us trillions and trillions of dollars. And they want another $1.5 trillion. Man, oh, man. That's absolutely nuts. Just crazy. Oh, I'm sorry. I said 275. It's 250. It's 250. See, there I go doing it again. But fortunately, I've got Tim Beck stopping me over here, and I appreciate that because that's very helpful. Yes, sir. Yes, 250. Big dope. Yes, sir. I am telling you. Our country, we're in big trouble. And, I'm not doing the math. It's always best if I'm not doing the math. Definitely. All right, we've got more to get to because so many crazy people. And the Democrats attacking everything, aren't they? All right, let's take another phone call. I haven't gone to a phone call in quite a while, and I keep screwing up my numbers. So I'm gonna get my gazintas in order, because 50 gazinta 250. Yes, sir. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Kip, calling from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Kip, you are on the Chris Plant Show.
Well, good morning, Chris. It's so nice to talk with you on this beautiful day.
I'm very happy that you're here to talk to.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I'm just laughing with you. I'm very happy that that you're here, and your name is Kip, and that's a cool name and a wonderful name, and you're obviously a happy and cheerful person, and I like happy and cheerful people.
Well, thank you. I am happy and cheerful. And I wanted to talk to you about a very good friend of mine. In fact, I introduced him to his last wife, who was a high school friend of mine. Anyway, October the 1st, he celebrated his 101st birthday.
Wow.
But the colonel is a retired Marine.
Naturally.
Probably
A retired Marine Corps colonel, and he turned 101. So I'm guessing World War II, yes?
Well, when he was 18, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, and he joined the Army. And he fought until World War II ended, and then he went to college, and then he came back and he joined the Marine Corps, and he's been a Marine ever since.
And then he was probably deployed to Korea and Vietnam.
I'm sure he was.
You know, that's you see the stories of a lot of guys that served in World War II, stayed in the military. 16.5 million men in uniform to go smash fascism, which was the Socialist Workers' Party of Germany, and imperialism, the Emperor of Japan. And then the war was over, and they stayed in the military. And a short time later, the communists started a war in the Korean Peninsula, just 5 years after the end of World War II. And then we had to deal with that, and the DMZ is still holding to this day, thanks to great Americans and Australians and a couple of others as well. But and then the Vietnam War came along. And there are a lot of men that served in World War II, stayed in, did a career, and not so long, there's the Korean War, and then there's the Vietnam War. And if he's a 101-year-old great American that you're describing, Kip, and he went into the Army for World War II and then the Marine Corps after World War II, wow, I want to buy him beers.
Well, Lieutenant Colonel... or not, excuse me, he was not a lieutenant colonel. He was a full colonel. Frank Harris III is probably the oldest Marine, at least in this area. And whenever Quantico does their birthday celebrations, he's always the one with the sword that cuts the cake first.
Oh, no kidding. That is great. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Now, his last name is Paris, like Paris, France?
No, Harris.
Oh, Harris. I'm sorry. All right, Frank Harris.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And he's still very active and involved, and he's been a wonderful friend.
And you wanted to recognize him on the Marine Corps birthday, and with all the important things going on in the world, you wanted to call in because you want to honor Frank Harris, 101 years old. World War II Army, and then career Marine Corps after that, retired as a colonel, full colonel, and I am saluting him right now in a slow and smart salute.
Absolutely. Me too.
Kip, that's wonderful. I'm very glad that you called in with that.
Well, I'm very happy to have known him, and I listen to you every day, and I love your show.
Well, thank you very kindly. and I'm a huge fan of yours. I'm very happy that you called in. That's wonderful. And Frank Harris, what a great story. October 1st, turned 101 years old. Wonderful, wonderful.
Absolutely.
Kip,
Yes.
God bless you. Thanks, all. I look forward to meeting you in person.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. And see, this is America. This is America is full of wonderful people, just great people everywhere you go. Kip is one. Frank Harris is one. You know, our side, Team America. Aren't we great? We're the luckiest people in the world. We're Americans. How do you get luckier than that? There is no way to get luckier than that. And then there are the Democrats. And the Democrats, they're attacking the Jews and firebombing the Jews, and they should be wearing armbands, and they're reforming the Confederate States of America, and they're not on the side of the good guys. And in Chicago, they are violently attacking ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, and the mayor is out there saying that our ICE agents should be arrested by the United Nations Human Rights Commission and charged with crimes against humanity because the mayor of Chicago wants more young black men gunned down and murdered. You know, it turns out that the crime rate in Chicago has been declining. Can you believe that? Since President Trump started deploying the National Guard and ICE and fighting against the illegal aliens. And turns out that the crime is going down. But why would the Democrats point that out? Yes, crime is down in Chicago, with 2025 data showing a significant decrease in violent crime and homicide compared to previous years, hitting a 60-year low. That's more than half a century for Democrats following along. 60-year low for summer homicides in 2025. Isn't that amazing? Just great. But in Chicago, they want to have more crime because they're Democrats. And again, I could play audio for you of the violent attacks and hurling bricks and things at the ICE vehicles. Oh, and one of the Democrats opened fire with a rifle in a drive-by shooting on ICE officers over the weekend. And then Democrats ganged up on the ICE vehicles, hurling bricks and broken half bricks and smashing windows and all this good stuff. And then the mayor of Chicago telling the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland, that they need to bring their Human Rights Commission to Chicago to arrest U.S. federal law enforcement agents for enforcing the laws as passed by Congress. Isn't that amazing? And, of course, they call everybody fascists because that's what they do. And here is Tom Homan, our border czar, on the Democrat Party's behavior.
Asking the United Nations to interfere with ICE enforcing U.S. law is like asking an arsonist how to stop a fire. Because the UN, remember, the IOM, the part of the UN, helped fund the mass migration during the Biden administration 4 years, spending millions upon millions of dollars helping that migration, international migration, come to the United States. So, you know, the United Nations is not going to tell President Trump what to do.
That's quite certain. I'll just go ahead and say, yeah, I think that's for sure. But the Democrats, they want to cede all control over the United States of America to foreign international organizations, including the ridiculous United Nations, where they oversee massacres every time they have the opportunity to do so. Tom Homan is our border czar.
President Trump was put in office on the promise of making this country safe again, on the promise of having the historic deportation operation. That's exactly what America's getting. Every criminal alien ICE and Border Patrol takes off the street makes this country safer. We have the most secure border in the history of the nation right now because of leadership of President Trump, the men and women of the Border Patrol, and because ICE, because of what ICE is doing, people aren't spending their life savings, putting themselves in harm's way. Thousands of people aren't dying making that journey. Thousands of Americans aren't dying from fentanyl because of that secure border.
You know, the Democrats, including the ridiculous Brandon Johnson, the Democrat mayor of Chicago, where hundreds and hundreds of murders are taken for granted as though it's no big deal at all, aren't they? And it wants the UN to come in. You know what the UN should be paying attention to? Last night, CBS News did a story, and I caught it almost by accident. I was flipping around doing football and stuff. And CBS News, again, Sudan is a big country in Africa. And just to their north, they've got Egypt and Libya and the Arab countries of North Africa. And these Arab countries have been sending Muslim militias down into Sudan to commit massacres of the locals in Sudan.
Overseas now, new reporting tonight on a humanitarian
CBS
crisis
News.
in Sudan. Thousands of civilians have been massacred over the past week by Arab militias. It is the latest horror in a civil war that has left millions displaced, starving, and terrified.
And terrifying. The New Yorker magazine has the headline, that CBS News last night. They paid attention to it for a minute. Where's the United Nations on that? It's just another Burundi, Rwanda, Tutsi goodbye thing, while the Hutus massacre the Tutsis. New Yorker says rebels post videos of mass killings in Darfur as the world watches. Isn't that what the UN is supposed to be doing rather than coming to Chicago and trying to arrest American federal law enforcement? But that's the Democrat Party. They don't give a flying hoot. It's the old, about human life, it's the old Joseph Stalin line. A single death is a tragedy. 1 million deaths are a statistic. And the Democrats agree with Joseph Stalin. And as the Arab Muslim militias massacre thousands just last week, the world completely ignores it. And Brandon Johnson completely ignores it. The United Nations ignores it. The United Nations Human Rights Commission ignores it. The General Assembly ignores it. The Security Council ignores it. Another genocide going on, and that's a real genocide. So thousands and thousands. Remember the Democrats out marching in the streets when Hamas was taking a beating because they started a war with Israel. But when you have Arab militias massacring thousands in any given week of innocent civilians, not Hamas terrorists, the Democrats are silent once again. Now, because of Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, airlines and airports are in a choke phase. And something really interesting happened. A Southwest Airlines pilot actually left the cockpit, came back into the passenger compartment, grabbed the flight attendant's phone, and addressed the nice people on the plane, telling them to call their darn senators.
I don't really care what your political persuasion is, but you should really call your senator. Because I'll tell you, this is costing the airlines millions of dollars. And just think of 30 airplanes with one engine running. And it's going to take us at least 90 minutes to take off. So it's frustrating. It's really frustrating for me.
The unnamed pilot and the person posting on TikTok the video said, listen, TSA took 2 hours. The flight was delayed by another 2 hours. And now we're going to be sitting on the runway for 2 hours. And this is all because Schumer needs to shake us all down for $1.5 trillion to bail out Obamacare again, because Obamacare was always a lie perpetrated by the Democrats and was never affordable.